Hey there, I am back with another deck review, and today I'm going to be looking at the Evil deck from Giovanni Meroni. Now, if you collect playing cards, you probably know the name Giovanni Meroni. He is the designer behind Thirdway Industries. They produce tons of really beautiful high-end decks, some of my absolute favorite. But this is the one that started it all. So back in 2013, 2014, Giovanni entered a design contest on a playing card forum on the Discourse, and he won with this design. As a prize, Expert Playing Card Company made the deck a reality, and at that time, Giovanni got 432 decks, which, as you can imagine, have long since sold out. That said, if you want to get your hand on one of these, there's a few different ways where right now you have a chance to do so. So I'm going to talk a little bit about those, including how you can get one for free as a giveaway on this channel. So stay tuned for the end of the video to find out more about that. But before we get into that, let's take a look at these cards. So the theme of this deck is evil, very simply. And it's not a particular story, but rather is kind of a collection of evil characters. Now, I will say it's more of a light-hearted version of evil. It's more Disney than it is John Wayne Gacy kind of evil. So there's a lot more kind of light-hearted feel to the deck, even with the theme of evil. We'll start here with the tuck case. It's a matte black tuck case with white, what he calls super gloss UV printing on here. So you've got black tuck with white glossy printing. You can see that difference there. It says the evil deck in bold font across the middle, and then these kind of modern icons and shapes going all the way around. So you have the knives flying out at the bottom, you have the crossbones down here, the skull. This shape over here is kind of a little bit of the shape of kind of one of the characters that you'll see repeated. So this winged round monster here, and then a bat at the top. A very simple border. So it's very clean, very simple tuck case, especially compared to Thirdway's later tucks, which get more and more and more elaborate and foiled and all that. This one's actually relatively simple in that vein. But I like the simple black and white tuck and color scheme on this one. One side says the evil deck with the heart and the diamond pip, the bat in the center. Other side's the same thing, but you've got the spade and the club pip. The bottom has your ad copy for Thirdway Industries, newly formed Thirdway Industries at this point, and the Expert Playing Card Company. And then at the top, nothing really, it's hard to see under here, but under the stamp, you've got the 4 suits and a white border, but fairly simple. The back of it's going to be the same as the front. Almost, I would say, the same as the front. So the front has evil deck. The back has very similar, but a slightly designed here in the middle, and then 54 evil cards at the bottom. And then you have this sort of elongated postage stamp style seal here with this eyeball mouth teeth kind of combination going on there, but a bright red seal. I like how the seal pops with the black and white deck. Simple printing on the interior of the tuck case. Again, that same creature here with a couple of dots, and then no printing on these inner flaps. Now, the inner tuck actually has its own printing as well, which is kind of interesting. This is a debossed design on this one. So you've got embossing on the front, but then debossing on the interior of the tuck. I don't know how well that shows up, but you have maroon printing with this bright red ink, and then a design that goes all the way down. A little bit hard to see, but on one side you've got mention of the evil deck by Giovanni Meroni, and then the other side, this is actually a debossed version of the back of the card, so we'll look more closely at that in a second. But you have that on the inside. Now, one sort of annoying thing about this, you can see this all that's chipping over here on the interior of the deck. I think this is actually a common thing based on how the deck was produced. I've seen a few other pictures with the exact same thing, so I think a lot of them have this sort of chipping on the inside, which is unfortunate, but it's a cool finish to the interior of the tuck nonetheless. So there's the tuck case. Now let's look at the cards, and we'll start with the back. And again, you're going to see this is early Giovanni Meroni, so much simpler designs than what you see in some of his other stuff, but I still love the really modern style, and you can see some of the touches of where his cards would go in the future throughout this. So the back design is a really modern design on a black card. So very dark black card with white ink. You have the winged monster repeated on either side, kind of a casino style back. And then the circular design kind of reminds me a little bit of like the circleback tally-ho there in the center. And then little small icons, including the kind of drops of blood or whatever you think they are, and then the cross skull bones here, or the cross bones here. So there's your back design. Has what amounts to a pretty fat black border around the edge, although the design elements kind of cut into that border and make it feel a little bit less thick. That said, it still kind of feels like a little bit of a chunky border. But there it is. So that's the back design of the card. Turning over to the cards themselves. So with Expert, you only get 2 extra cards, and they're going to be the Jokers. And you can see, again, touches of Giovanni's style as he creates characters through this. So you have the angel and then sort of the death representation here. They're both wearing these bright sort of jester outfits. So they have the Joker hat and outfit, motley there. Angel is holding swords with the halo above her, and then the death over here has scythes, and they both have their wings. And then you have the multicolored Joker, one in yellow and purple, one in yellow and red on the 2. So there are your 2 Jokers. And then the rest of the deck. So the Ace of Spades, here it is. Large, bold spade pip. This circular winged one-eyed monster there in the center, and then a halo over the top. Interesting choice to put the halo there. I don't know, a tongue-in-cheek way, because usually a halo represents good. Obviously, this is the evil deck, but it's a very bold, modern design. I like what was done here. It says Expert Playing Card Company, West 30th Street, New York there, and then a smaller pip and index in the corner. So these are very small pip and index in the corner of all of these cards, and that's going to continue throughout. There's your Ace of Spades. Now, every single card throughout this is going to have a different character on it. So every single number card, court card, all the way through has different characters. There is a sub-theme as I flip through this, and you can see some of these characters. I like this Djinn here, or Genie floating in the clouds. But there is a sub-theme through the cards. So in addition to everything in here representing evil, the spades are actually representative of magic. So these characters are going to have some sort of magic associated with them. There's your fallen angel with her wings falling off. Really like the design of that one. And there's a Medusa. And then you can see here, there's the magic theme very boldly done. So the courts are going to be a little bit bolder, have a purple background to them. And they're all, again, just going to be different, unique characters. So you have this sort of sorcerer over here with the spirits floating around him. You have the queen sorceress there with her black cat. And then you have this black, I don't know, what you call him, a genie there on the King of Spades. So there are your 3 courts. Now moving into the hearts. The theme for the hearts, or the sub-theme, is going to be passion. So the ace features a heart with the arrow going through, and then you go through. So now some of these are actually going to have a little bit more adult images. So the 2 of hearts here, you can see these winged harpies or creatures flying here are actually bare-chested. So you'll get a few of those things. I think if you've seen a Thirdway deck, you know that's something that kind of sometimes comes up. But there are those. And then the other thing I'll point out is through these, every single one of the cards, while there's no pips in the center, there is going to be something representing the number of the cards. So as an example, here on the 5 of hearts, you'll see that this guy here is juggling 5 cups in the air. On the 6 of hearts, you have these 3 characters. I actually like this design quite a bit, but they're holding 6 different pieces of cutlery, knives and forks in their hands. There's a 7 of hearts with the 7 bats flying around Dracula and his coffin in the background, and so on. So you'll see some sort of representation of the number, but it's not quite as obvious as what you typically see with the pips in the center. There are your heart courts. Really kind of weird one here in the center of the Queen of Hearts, with the pig on a chain there. Now moving into the clubs, the theme is going to be nature. You got the flower here, the grinning evil flower there. And then through the rest of these, you'll see a lot more creatures out of nature here. Really like the design of that one. The 7 cats, 8-legged spider, hydra, and so on. There are your courts on this one. This Queen of Clubs is one of my personal favorite courts. I really like that one. And then down into the diamonds, where the theme is violence. You'll see a lot more weapons and violence in this one. There's the katana on the Ace of Diamonds. the two-headed monster with the club, and so on. And we'll flip through the rest of this. You can see all the weapons and things. This one with the 9 skulls piled up at the knight's feet. And then here are your quartz. All of them have crossed weapons, looking very, very strong there with that red background. So that's it. What about the handling of the cards? Well, they're done expert playing card company with the master finish. So if you're used to EPCC, it's going to handle a little bit different. It's going to be, for me, a little bit more slippery of a deck. But they do still fan and handle quite nicely. The master finish definitely feels a little bit smoother, slipperier. Doesn't mean it doesn't handle well. It's just going to handle very differently from a bicycle deck. That said, as far as uses of this deck, I don't think this is really one that's going to be primarily as a cardistry deck. Certainly it handles well enough for it, but that's not really where the niche of this is. I think you could use this for a fun, different sort of gameplay. It's definitely still a readable deck, but I think more than anything, it is a collection art kind of deck to really kind of see some of the early influences of Giovanni Meroni. So definitely worth checking out for that. So that's it. Hope you enjoyed. Now, I did mention I was going to talk about ways that you could get this deck. Now, there are a few different ways. I said they've been sold out for a long time, but Expert actually had produced back in 2014 a reserve of these decks to sell separately. They didn't sell all of them, and recently, in the last month or so, Giovanni bought out the remaining stock. And so now there's a few ways you can get it. One, you can sign up for his Patreon. If you're not a member of his Patreon, check out some of the previous videos on my channel. I do some unboxings of what you can get there. I'll put a link in the description where you can join it. But the December Patreon gift is actually going to be 2 decks of the Evil deck. So definitely recommend checking that out. You'll also be able to order this on his site soon. I'll put a link again to where you can pre-order that. Or if you want to win one, if you don't want to pay anything at all, I will actually ship one to you. And so how do you enter to find out if you can win one of those? Well, a few things you got to do. First, like this video. Second, subscribe to the channel. And third, leave a comment down below. Let me know what is your favorite Thirdway Industries deck. So once I will pick a winner out of those, and in the new year, I will be shipping one of these decks to you. So this contest is going to run through January 13th. So we'll run it for a couple of weeks now, give everybody a chance to enter. And then around that time, we'll pick a winner and somebody will win a free Evil deck. So that's it, a few different ways you can get it. That's it for this one. Hope you enjoyed this look at the Evil deck. Hope you enter, get a chance to win your own or go buy one for yourself. Definitely worthwhile if you are a Thirdway Industries fan. Like I said, subscribe for more deck reviews, unboxings, and to enter that giveaway. And I'll see you for the next one.